so easily. And it really came as no surprise. You look beyond comparing every time that I came close to making a move. I froze. I always do that, and I know it. If I could only be some kind of poet, if I could have my way with words, if only for a day, I would tell you what I feel so you know it. 'Cause I would know just what to say. If only I was some kind of poet. And the next time you walk through that door, I really need to try to talk to you, but every time I do, I end up lying. Yeah, when I try to tell you how I feel, strange things happen to me. I lose my way, I don't know what.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a Leeds United based sponsor on the channel, teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here, accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99, and I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here, a beautiful image, really good quality as well, by the way, and of course the title winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United fans. Go check it out. Enjoy the video. One Leeds is now sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball is a really classy app. You can get all of your Leeds United updates on this app. You can get all the transfer news, injury news, match day news, and it really is top quality. The most downloaded app regarding football on the site. So make sure you go check it out. The link is in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video, guys. Hello everybody, welcome back to One Leeds, and we are back here with your Leicester City preview, and I am joined with my friend Anthony Higgs from the Leeds United Random Goals. Is it LUFC Random Goals or Leeds United?
Yeah, LUFC Random Goals.
There we go, we got it at the end. LUFC Random Goals on Instagram, go check it out. But guys, the reason I've got Anthony on is because I need some convincing. I need to know why we're going to beat Leicester tomorrow. And yeah, my headspace isn't in the zone of we're going to beat them. So I need convincing. I thought I'd bring you a little bit of balance on the channel so we can have some pros and we can have some cons. Anthony, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, considering obviously it's topical being in lockdown, it always is. But it's just, you know, what would we do without football, really? What would we do? It's an hour Leeds United. You know, I'm here to be good cop. You're bad cop. And
that's it, mate. And you've had a couple of special appearances on there. It's Leeds United as well, haven't you? The Leeds United YouTube page.
Yeah, I do bits and bats. Like I say, it can get
superstar.
It can get tedious just being at home doing nothing. So any opportunity, I'll just talk about Leeds because that's what I love to do.
That's it, guys. But yeah, and get your comments in the section below. What do you think? What do you think on tomorrow's game? It's obviously a massive game for Leeds United, and you know it's a big game for Leicester City as well. And I think hopefully we've learned a lot from that game, Anthony. Hopefully we've developed a little bit of a tactic to go up against Leicester. I'm sure we have. But I guess my first question to you, mate, and what I want to put to the comments as well is this game a free hit? We were doing an opposition preview last night, and the Leicester fan Jamie said to me that when they first came up into the Premier League, they had 8 games which they saw as free hits, and the 30 which they saw as quite competitive. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think if you look at Leicester and how they've done this season and how they're going about the business, you would say that it would be a free hit, and especially with what they did to us in the last game. But I don't think we're the same side we were then. I think we've learnt a lot. I think we've come a long way, and I think we're going to be playing a different team to what we played then. We've got players coming back in compared to what we had against Leicester. I think the midfield three then was Klich, Shackleton, and Hernandez against a very, very, very good counter-attacking Leicester side at that time. We've got Phillips back in there now. Rodrigo, Klich, they've not been doing great together over the last few games, but we can. And obviously, we didn't have Rafinha at the time either. Yeah. Part of the team, so we've got a different side to put out there tomorrow, and a one that's a lot more threatening than the last time we faced them, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's that there's a lot to be made for that, isn't there? I mean, Calvin being taken out of our side's absolutely huge anyway, the anchor. I guess from an opposition point, really, just in terms of playing devil's advocate, I mean, should we go into this game and I mean, should there be a bit of adaptability from Bielsa, or do you think we should just go out there? And I guess my point is, Anthony, we went out there and played our way last time, didn't we? And it was a bit of a lesson. It was probably the first lesson we've had in the Premier League.
I always say this about Leeds, and I agree with Bielsa. It's just we need to do Plan A better, and I think that's the case. Mm-hmm. At the time, we are our own worst enemy. We are the ones that beat ourselves.
That's true. So true.
Against Manchester United, they were trying to do the right things. They were trying to transition the ball well. But when those two midfielders there are really important, Rodrigo and Klich, in terms of how we turn play into attack.
Yeah.
When those players aren't taking the right touches, they aren't making the right turns in the blink of an eye, we get punished for it. Yeah. And and at times when it comes off, we can absolutely burn teams to the brink of ashes, because once it comes off, it's the best kind of football to watch. You'll see Leeds scoring, like free scoring basically, and we see that more against the lower end sides, because they haven't got the quality of the top end sides to sort of put that pressure on us. And I think there's a little bit of, do Leeds get nervous in those big games as well? Going to like Old Trafford, going to place. I know the fans aren't there, but it's still, this is our first season in the Premier League. A lot of these players haven't played at this level. So when we play against those top quality sides, naturally, I don't think you see us play our game the way we can play it. And I think the more we've got into this year, I think the more we're going to be able to adapt to that. And tomorrow, I don't see why that can't be the case.
Yeah, and I think there's a comment here, and we're talking about. I just want to touch on something before we touch on Mark's comment here, but with regards to Vardy being out, I mean, how big do you see that? He got an assist last time, and let's be right, mate. He absolutely tore us a new one, didn't he? We've got to be brutally honest. He got 2 goals. He was connecting really nicely with Tielemans and Barnes. And there's going to have to be a change. I think Brendan Rodgers has turned around as well and said that normally when they'd have 1 or 2 passes, obviously over the top sometimes with Vardy, it's going to have to turn into 4 or 5 passes. And they're going to have to modify the game a little bit with Jose Perez, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Vardy is the pinnacle of their style. They're a very, very effective team in that sort of vertical transition, aren't they?
Yeah.
Vardy brings them high up the pitch, and they can. Leicester are really sort of versatile. They can defend deep, but then they can turn defence into attack really quick, and that's thanks to your likes of Barnes and Vardy. And I think those two in particular, you can make comparisons with like Kane and Son in terms of the way those two have been connecting up when they're on form. And I think it's going to be a huge thing for us that he's not there tomorrow. I sort of watched them. I watched Match of the Day and stuff, and I think they've been playing Jose Perez up there.
Yeah.
I think they play the same system as well. I think it's 4-2-3-1. Is it that they play?
Because they played 3-4-3 against us, didn't they? But I think now they've developed into their style, which is 4. I think it was, to be honest, Anthony, I think it was because they had so many injuries out, mate. You forget about when they played us last time. We're talking about Vardy here. We're talking about Ndidi. But last time they had Castagna out. They had, I think they had Johnny Evans. Nah, obviously Suyunchu. They had a good sort of 6 players out when they played us last time. And I think they went to a 3-4-3. But yeah, I mean, This is a good question from Mark. I mean, Connor, do you think Bielsa has ever thought about Dallas as an 8 if Klich isn't performing as Dallas is so versatile? And I think we saw that a little bit against Newcastle, didn't we, at the start of the game? And I thought Dallas was good. I thought, he's not as creative as Klich. But what I will say, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier on, I think when Klich's on it, Leeds are on it. And I think at this moment in time, we've seen it, haven't we, Anthony, this past sort of month, probably 6 weeks, when Klich's been on it, we've really been suffering, haven't we? Especially through that middle.
At the end of the day, he gets a lot of the ball. Like I said, it's very important, that central part of the field in terms of how we play our triangles. And
yeah,
I think Klich, you see him get a lot of the ball, and he does a lot off the ball as well. He is probably the most hardworking player in the team in terms of what he has to do, and therefore, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders this year compared to last year with the quality coming up against. And I just think that's, that might have played a part on him a little bit. He might have, he's played a lot of games. I think it was wise to bench him against Newcastle. I think it was the right decision. I think he needed to sit out at least one or two, just try and get back into it. I think Dallas is, he is really versatile, and he did play well in those positions. But obviously, I don't think neither are the long-term solution. We know we need a central midfielder in the summer.
Anthony, do you think he'll start Klich
tomorrow? I wouldn't be able to tell you, but I would think, like you say, if we have a Klich on form, I don't know whether he might have not started him on Tuesday to give him the chance to get ready for Leicester, maybe.
Yeah. Sort
of more high intensity game, which is what I'm expecting against Leicester. And Klich's your engine, isn't he? And I would expect him to play him in that aspect in terms of a firing Klich. We move the ball a lot more efficiently when he's playing well. Roberts, I've been really impressed with recently. Last couple of games, he's come off the bench, and obviously, people are saying, "Oh, well, what did he do? He didn't score, did he?" But what chances has he had, really? But what he's done on the ball has been really, really, it's been really good. He's been, getting the ball really quick to his feet and looking to make a pass immediately and turn defence into attack. And I think he's been really good at sort of dropping deep and turning Leeds' play into a sort of a more aggressive attacking threat. And I mean, a lot of people have been calling, I think I've seen on your Twitter feed, for him to start actually over Bamford. I know Bamford's had a bit of a dry patch at the minute. But
I mean, is it? I mean, I don't know if it's a bit knee jerk for me that, I mean, we've spoken about it before, haven't we, on our group chat about Paddy, and with what he's done, he's got a lot of credit in the bank. I think at this moment in time, he's cutting a frustrated figure a lot, and I think in the 4-1-4-1 system, Anthony, he's naturally good. Even when we've won games, Burnley, West Brom, he's been isolated. He's really isolated from that midfield four, isn't he? So it's been difficult for him at this moment in time. But, I do agree with you, and I have turned a little bit. I did see this Leicester game, and I thought, Christ alive. I thought, nah, it's not looking good for us. I didn't think, and I'm not massively confident, but I will turn around and say that Bielsa will have learned. I'm certain of it. And they've got, I do think Vardy, I mean, I think someone put it in the comment section up here. They've said that only 7 wins in 17 games without Vardy, drew against an out-of-form Everton team last time out. We've seen as well today, Everton losing to Newcastle, which was a massive shock. So, yeah, man, what do you reckon?
I mean, again, Sheffield United go to Manchester United and win. There's no rules, is there? Like, no. You can't. On paper, you'd say, you don't expect us to go there tomorrow and get anything. Of course not, especially after the first fixture and how Leicester have been doing this year. On the other hand, Leicester have lost all 5 of their games at home this year.
Yeah.
We play better away from home. I think we should change the home colours to maroon, personally. Rafinha is just a beast in that kit, isn't he? So, for me, as long as he's on the pitch, I've said this on the WhatsApp chat, as long as Rafinha is on the pitch, there's always a chance, because that guy is...
Is he the first name on the team sheet for you?
Oh, absolutely. I know you said the other day that you thought he carried us, which I didn't agree with the term carried us, but I know what you mean in terms of he's a class ahead of everyone else. Like, Rafinha is, a top 4 player. And, you've got individuals in there now who can pull off a bit of class, and I feel like that could come out tomorrow. You know, they've got class players out, and you know, if Leeds turn up the way we play for the last 3 years, if we turn up and play our games how we can play, we can beat anyone. We can beat
what for the last 4 games? Then we've been we have been flat, haven't we? So in your opinion, for Leicester, what has to change? Is it energy levels? Is it does someone need to come in for someone? What do you think? Because even that Newcastle game, it was difficult for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's decision making. That's what it is. It's decision making. Like in this system, you need to make decisions exactly right. You know, it's a system that it's a high maintenance system, is what we play. You know, it requires a high level of thinking and connectivity with knowing where players are around you. Having especially that central midfield part is really, really, really important for us. That if our midfield plays well, we play well. For me, you know, it's important, and I think if the decision making from midfield into attack is better, we've got a chance. And then obviously it's giving we give so many set pieces away around our box, and it just frustrates me. We give so many fouls away, needless fouls. I mean, Alioski in particular just gives loads of fouls away. I mean, yeah. I don't like criticising any of them, but our Achilles heel is from those set pieces. You know, we've conceded so many, and you know, even though we've been dealing with them, it's still not been convincing, has it? You saw Melier like dropping it through his hands the other night, bouncing around the box. Shelby getting headers. You know, if teams would have been able to take their chances, we could have been conceding a lot more set pieces as well at this stage. So it's cutting out those set pieces as well, cutting out stupid fouls around the box, and just making better.
Anthony, you know, did you know just on that point there? Because it's a really interesting point you made. Have you noticed, because of the pressure Leeds apply, it's all about getting to your man as quickly as possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you get to your man as quickly as possible, I've noticed the Leeds players are harrying round. I think, you know, you get there, and I've said this before, you can just have a quick arm in the back and you can push the player back. I think Dallas can be culpable for this as well. It's always a swipe round the ankles. So they get to them very quickly, and it's a swipe round the ankles, and it's a free kick. And it's great you're being eager to get to the ball, because that's how this system works. It's progressive. It's ball recoveries in our half and in their half, but it doesn't always have to be so tight, that because the Premier League players are so intelligent, they feel a touch from any pressure and they're down, aren't they?
Yeah, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. I love, you know, at Elland Road, it's brilliant as well when you've got the fans behind you and the players are really up for it, and they're going for every tackle, and it's aggressive, and they're playing murder ball every Wednesday, and they're taught to do that to get to your man quick.
Yeah.
But they don't need to do that. They don't need to be chopping players down like they do every single time. Get to the ball, get to the man, but then do the right thing. Stand him up, put pressure on him, make the player make a mistake, make them make a mistake, and get the ball back, intercept. But the amount of fouls we give away around our box is ridiculous. Definitely, I would say we'd need to improve that part of our game a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Leicester fan I had on yesterday, Jamie, actually said their biggest weakness, which I found quite funny, is set pieces. They concede so many goals from set pieces, and I think Newcastle concede quite a few from set pieces. It seems to be like we're facing a lot of teams who do concede a lot through set pieces, but it's always going to be difficult for Leeds to profit from that, isn't it? With sort of the size of our squad.
Yeah, I mean, we've never, for the last few years, I've always saying, even the young players we bring through all seem to be midgets, don't they? I don't think we get any commanding presence in there. I think Casey's the only one who came through. I thought, oh, he's a big lad, but then he's a bit slow. Something about him is just sluggish. I don't know.
But do you think as well, mate, that, I mean, obviously with a high tempo, and I know we're going to carry on, and this is what Paul is just saying here. If we stop giving the ball away needlessly and play our high tempo game, we could tear them a new one. And I agree with him, because on our day, we are, if we're, you know, the passing tempo's right, etc., it's unbelievable. Calvin's got to be on his game, which I don't think he was against Newcastle. His range was all wrong, wasn't it? But it's just the individual errors. I think we've said on the group chat, haven't we? Anytime Leeds really lose this year, I've never noticed any moments really of individual brilliance. A lot of it comes from breaking down the Leeds play further up the pitch and Leeds making individual errors. And we cannot afford to do that with Tielemans, with Maddison, but is that just the case of the players been at their optimum level, Anthony? Are we asking too much of these players?
I mean, I don't think you could ever ask too much of them because I mean, I'm saying you can ask too much of them because of where they've come from. I mean, our most sort of important players are the players who haven't really played at this level before. Like Phillips, Klich, Dallas, Ayling. The way we play, those are your players who instigate a lot of things, and those are the players who haven't got that world class quality over a long period of time. But then again, they're so important to our system. So we expect them to do these things like they were doing in the Championship, and we're not always getting that to be the case. And that's both psychological in terms of how the players, approach the game, and just in terms of like physically, they're playing against better players. So it's you're not always going to get that, that brilliant sort of us having all the possession, having all the passes kind of thing, because it's a different league, it's a different class this year. I can't always ask too much of them, but at the same time, we know they can do it.
That's it, and I think that's the big frustrating thing, isn't it? Because we've seen it in the Premier League. We've seen, Newcastle when we scored 5. Demolished them in that first game. Newcastle, how they scored 2 goals in that first game, I will never know, because it should have been 7 or 8 leads. I couldn't believe they scored 2 goals. But then you reverse the fixture, and unbelievable. We got the win, cracking 3 points. I'm of the opinion we will stay in the Premier League. I'm nervous, but I am of that opinion. But the contrast in the 2 performances, and we know Newcastle came back, and we know Newcastle had, they came out in the second half a little bit differently, and they have that caliber of player. But we know Leeds can play like that first game, and the performance just completely dipped for a good 60 minutes, didn't it?
Remember in that first game as well, we had large spells of the game where we struggled too. It was in the last 20 odd minutes when Newcastle started to come on to us, where we did what we do to teams who do that to us, and we countered well. So there is spells in games where that could be the case, but that game against Man City for me was the proof in the pudding for me that we can do it against the top sides.
Definitely.
I know we didn't win that game, but we should have won that game. We had chances to score, and Edison's had a wonderful game. In the net, that save from Rodrigo, my God, what a save!
Yeah, unbelievable save of the season, I think.
Oh mate, that was a really good save, but. For me, that was proof that these players, even from the levels they've come from, can perform at the highest level and can do it on their day if the decision making's right, and if tempo's right. Decision making is really important for this team because like I say, high maintenance system. If everything isn't going right, and your likes of Phillips aren't making those incredible passes, isn't finding the space to be able to affect the play. And Klich isn't getting this, making the right decisions and turning play where we've got men flying forward. If that isn't happening, then Leeds aren't going to be that effective in this league. And if we can do it against top sides, we can. So I can expect us to do that, but I can't expect us to do it every single week.
No, it's unrealistic, isn't it?
Getting to the summer is the most important thing. We'll see quality players come through the door. I've seen on Phil Hay on The Athletic, for example, saying we want to take that Leicester model, don't we? We want to be able to, in a few years' time, be able, we've got to get used to becoming a selling club, I think, eventually, if we want to get to those levels. The likes of Rafinha has come in for 17 million. He'll be getting sold probably for a lot higher price to be able to propel us to that level. So we are going to get to those levels, but we can't expect to be at that level now every single week. And for me, just about enjoying it, and I am enjoying every minute of it. So.
Yeah, I need to start it, mate. I do, because Bielsa's gonna leave, and I'm just gonna be like that. What happened? I was supposed to enjoy this at one point. But with regards to your lineup, then, which is everyone get your comments in the section below. I know the lineup's causing a little bit of some people are saying this, some people are saying that. Obviously, is Strike going to come in for Llorente? Would you have Ayling centre back, then push Dallas right back, Alioski left back? I think what we're going to get with Leicester is we're going to get a lot of high pressing. We've seen that with Barnes with his energy, Maddison, Perez as well. He runs everywhere, doesn't he? So I mean, having, and we haven't got many press-resistant players, but having players who are maybe better on the ball, I think, is going to be key in this one. So do we need Luke Ayling as a fully fledged right back to deal with sort of the presence of Harvey Barnes?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going in the broader perspective, you know, most Leeds fans will say Ayling's always more effective at right back. But in this kind of game, like you said, it's going to be really important for us to be able to make those passes. You know, because we play so deep to try and turn, you know, defense into attack. And when we were doing that against Leicester last time, Vardy and Barnes were just having a field day. Like, we just made hospital passes left, right, and centre. And you know, I know Vardy's not playing this game, but they're still going to play the same way. They're still very pragmatic in their sort of press. They're really effective at the press, even still now. So I think, yeah, having those ball-training centre-backs could be important. Like you say, Ayling does that really well, and he brings the ball into midfield really well. From you know, we saw the West Brom game. How good was he? He was absolutely ridiculous. It was against West Brom, but I do get what you're saying, absolutely. With starting Ayling in a right centre-back position, also because he's right-footed, and people are saying two left-footed centre-back. The way we play, we like to open up and find the winger. Whoever's left-footed at right centre-back sometimes struggles to maybe affect the play the way they can do. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be open to seeing Ayling start at centre-back again. At the same time, you know, if he starts at right-back, I'm always happy. So, yeah.
What would you go in terms of the midfield then? Would you bring Klich back in, or what would you do personally?
I think so. I mean, I'm not in training every week. I don't see them play, but you know, in terms of how what their attributes are, I would definitely put Klich in there. In terms of how we know he can affect the game, and we all would love to see him turn this sort of form around and be able to affect the game like we know he can. And that relationship with Rodrigo is really important, isn't it? In terms of how Rodrigo might not always do the work that Klich does. And at the same time, Dallas doesn't have the same. I mean, obviously, Dallas has loads of legs. He's one of our fittest players. But in terms of how he affects the game creatively, he's not quite the same in that position. So in that aspect, I would start Klich in terms of how we can turn over Leicester when they're pressing really high, because they do. It's just down to which Klich is going to turn up at the end of the day. But I would, yeah, definitely start Klich in this game next to Rodrigo, and just have Phillips in behind again. I would just put that there. Maybe, like you say, I don't think they're going to start two up front either, so I don't expect to see three at the back. So yeah, we'll have to see, man.
Yeah. I mean, guys, get your score predictions in as well. I think we're going to round it off now. We've been chatting for a good half an hour. Anthony, tell me, what do you think tomorrow?
I think we can pull off a draw there. I do. I think, well, you know, I could go all positive, but my realistic expectation, I think we can get a draw. I do. I think they'll score, so we'll go as Oscar says on other channel, Desmond 2-2.
Desmond 2-2. I'm. What do I do here, mate? Am I honest, or what do I do? What do I do?
If you're honest, I know you are.
I'll tell you what, I'll go Leicester 2-1. I think I wouldn't be too disappointed with Leicester 2-1. I know it sounds ridiculous because we've lost, but
no, I'm not going to be, as long as we don't get pummeled again. I don't think we will get pummeled. I don't think we will.
I think that's the big thing, though, isn't it? You don't want to see Leicester go 2-0 up inside 10 minutes, and then that's we don't want that again.
No, exactly. I think I'm hoping that, you know, the players will take the try and press so high slowly, and they can just keep the ball and get into the game a bit more. And hopefully, we don't. That's obviously when we're competing to the games these days, isn't it? So
yeah, there you go. Look, Vince is already calling me out. Connor, my opinion of you just gone down. So that's it. That's what happens when I'm honest. There you go. I've just got to say 4-1 Leeds, haven't I?
the first match you predicted in like.
I think it is on this channel. I'm not sure about the WhatsApp group. But Anthony, thank you so much for joining, mate. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like on this video, I hope you enjoy this sort of stuff. Hit a like on it as well if you'd like to see Anthony back again. We can massage his ego there. But thank you so much for joining, and we will be back with your review of the game. Anthony, cheers, mate.
Thanks very much, Connor. Have a good one.
See you later.